As humans, we've all had those moments where we're incredibly angry and frustrated and just want to lash out. Over the last 15 years working with veterans, active duty service members, and families, I've noticed that our big muscles, our hips, big joints, and the spine have a tendency to hold on to that frustration very, very tightly in the body. This next sequence will really help us open up all of those areas and come back to the present moment awareness of being a lot more peaceful and generous to ourselves in the moment. So we'll start seated in a chair. If you are experiencing a lot of discomfort or maybe some older joints, sitting in a chair can be a really great way to still practice yoga and get all of the great benefits without having to maneuver up and down to the floor. So we'll start seated in the chair. Try to slide forward if possible so that we begin to already engage the core. There's a gentle lift of the groin, and pull in of the belly, and the heart gently lifts a bit more to get long through the spine. Hands can start onto the knees, and we'll move through a little flow of cat-cow to open up the spine. So tilt your pelvis forward, inhale, lift up through the lower ribs, inhaling big chest. And as you exhale, you can round the spine, pulling the belly in. Drop the head if it feels good, and you can even stretch back more to open the shoulders. Inhale again. Come forward, still rooting into the feet. Lift up through the breastbone. If it feels good, the neck can go, but if not, don't force it. Exhale, round spine. And one more, we'll inhale, come through. And exhale, round. From here, come back to center. Notice the sit bones equally into the chair, and we'll pick up that right knee. If you have any knee joint issues, you want to have the hands at the back of the thigh. That way you're not putting too much pressure into the joint, and start to let the leg be really heavy. This way your arms are getting a little bit of extra work, and you may even notice at points that you lean to one side. So keep that awareness in both sit bones. Change direction on the hips, so we're just lubricating the hip joint for a bit more extra mobility, which is always good, especially if you're older and you live in a climate where maybe it gets icy or slippery in the winter. You want to make sure that you have good flexibility in the joints so you don't break a hip or tear a muscle if you slip. From here, we're going to exhale and kick the leg forward and squeeze the knees together tightly. If this is too much, then grab a block or anything. Honestly, you could even use a Kleenex box. You just don't want to squeeze it too hard and crush it. But you could squeeze the block tightly to engage the adductors, the adductors, the muscles that pull the legs together. And again, we lift up through the groin, the belly, and the chest. If you're going to stay with the block, stay here. If you're going to kick the leg out, we'll join you and squeeze the knees. Flex the foot, spread the toes, and notice that left foot. Really root it down into the floor and keep the lift. So already I've got a little bit of an Elvis happening in my quad. I've got a little bit of a shake. That's a good thing. The muscle is working. We're engaging, warming up the body, and finding a bit of that dump of tension out of the body. From here, grab the sides of the chair, and we'll gently tilt forward to bring the heel down. If that's too low, you've still got your block close by. You could prop your leg if that's too much of a stretch with it on the floor. So I'll go back to showing you on the floor. You'll inhale, lift gently, long spine. Exhale, gently fold forward. We're going to do that again. So inhale, come all the way back up. And exhale, fold forward again. We do this little flow, one for the nervous system to begin to soothe it back down, but also so we're not jamming the muscle too tightly. So from here, begin to elongate through the spine and fire up your quad. Notice that you're not pushing the knee joint down, and you're supporting the whole rest of the torso with this left leg. Spread through the toes. You may notice a soundtrack happening in your hamstring. Sometimes it's very poetic in opera. Other times it's a little grindy and like death metal. So notice what's happening back there. Lift up through the spine. Take a big inhale here. Press into your left foot. And on your exhale, maybe the arms come forward. We can take it up all the way back up. Arms reach out. If that's hard in the shoulders, bend the elbows, spread through the fingers, squeeze the knees. Inhale here. And exhale all the way back down. Hands onto the knees. Just notice for a moment. Maybe rest the eyes closed or just feel your breath. Notice the sensation of the breath as it passes in and out through the nose. If you're newer to yoga and breathing in and out through the nose is challenging, or maybe you have a deviated septum, use your mouth. However you need to breathe, get the breath moving through the body. On your next inhale, we'll go ahead and grab the left knee. Nice tight grip here. And again, we'll find some rotations in the hip. And this may be a totally different experience on this side. Maybe there's an injury, maybe there's just some tension. But notice if the mind has disappeared into the story of why this hip is tight. Try not to fall into the story, try to come back to the breath. And this brings us back to this one-pointed focus and concentration, which really helps us, especially when we're angry or frustrated. We can come back to the present moment awareness, which usually doesn't have the same thing happening. If maybe we were in a near-miss car accident, or somebody cut us off in traffic, or we're frustrated by a past emotion, that's all in the past. So constantly coming back to the breath is a great way to bring yourself back to present moment awareness. Exhale, kick that leg forward, squeeze the knees. Remember, you have the option of the block between the knees and then maybe the block at the base of the mat for the heel. So wait till you find a little bit of extra movement, shake, or attention coming from the quad. Spread through the toes. Good. Inhale here. And exhale, we'll gently bring that heel down. Inhale, lift the chest. We'll flow 3 times. Good. Exhale, folding here. Staying rooted in the bottom leg. Inhale up. Exhale, see if you can keep lengthening out of the spine, even pressing back through the tailbone. Inhaling, coming up. And last one here, we can exhale to stay. And lengthen through the spine. Maybe even let the neck drop. That way you get that long line through the traps, out of the whole back line of the spine. Stay rooted in the right leg here, belly pulls in, groin lifts, and on your inhale, the arms can come forward. Lift up, squeeze the knees, and exhale all the way back down. Hands can rest here. And find your breath, and again, just notice what it feels like in your body in this present moment after we've opened the spine, after we've opened up the hamstrings and the hips.